Hi lovely people, welcome back to Andertons TV with me, Gabriella Jones, and we're somewhere quite glam today.
We are indeed.
So we're actually at the Gibson Garage in London. They've kindly let us use the artist space today, which is so cool, and if you haven't checked out the Gibson Garage, you need to. It's just like been in a candy shop for guitarists.
It's literally heaven, isn't it? It's incredible.
It's guitar heaven, and it's been made even better today by the presence of the one and only Toby Lee.
Oh, well, thank you very much for having me.
I don't need no doctor. I ain't got no flu. I don't need no doctor. I got a fever for you.
This is honestly such a joy, and I feel like for a lot of people who are watching, they'll have seen your journey and kind of developing as an artist over the years, and I'm really keen to hear what that's been like, doing it from such a young age, and then obviously talking about the incredible things that you've got coming up. So are you ready?
100%.
We're going to get deep.
Love it.
Get your snorkel, some deep questions.
Get the snorkels, we're all good.
Yes. So for people who have been living under a rock and they don't know who you are, I'm sure pretty much everyone that's watching will, but just in case, how did you get your start?
So it's kind of been a long old journey. I started playing drums, that was my initial thing, but the neighbours hated it, so out went the drum kit and in came a ukulele. So that was that was the start of kind of the stringed instruments being in my life, and we were a very musical household. We always had pianos around the house, we had drum kits, we had guitars, basses, so I could have kind of gone down any avenue in terms of music, or any avenue in general, but we always had a broad kind of variation of music playing around the house. So one minute we'd have Buddy Holly playing and the next minute we'd have Metallica playing. It was just
nice.
Like everything was going on.
You wanted that, yeah.
Exactly. It was just like, as a kid, we're like rocking around. It was just so much fun. But I always wanted, I always, when I watch music videos or something, I always saw the guitarist and thought, you know, that's really cool.
That's
I love that.
Yeah.
But obviously my ukulele only had 4 strings, so there was one thing that I had to do about that, and that was to upgrade to a quarter-sized guitar. And I think for me, I was never brought up around technology. We've always lived on farms in the middle of nowhere, and technology and kind of gaming and all that kind of thing was never something that I've done. So for me, it was all about music and all about the instrument. And so I guess a slight obsession was created with me and music and me and instruments.
So you're a good advert then for not being addicted to games, and I know a lot of people love it. But that's quite nice, because I think, who was it that was saying, it might have been like one of the Gallaghers that was saying like people aren't bored now. Not to imply that you were bored, but I think in order to be creative you need some kind of space to be filled, whereas 100%. If you can just be like on your phone all the time or on games, or it's so easy for all of us to just go, you know what, I am permanently occupied.
Yeah,
there's no space.
100%. And I also think that it's so easy to be on your phone for 5 hours and then look at the time and think, what has happened?
I could have written a classic.
Exactly.
What's wrong with me?
Something could have been life-changing in that time. And so for me, I just got completely obsessed with it, to the point where even when I was playing guitar, I'd have a ukulele in the footwell of my mum and dad's car because I literally couldn't go anywhere without it.
Wow. So
it was my whole life.
I'm looking this way, by the way, if you're like, why is she gesturing over there? Because Toby's creator is in the building.
Yes.
His dad is
Dad
here.
is here.
Yes.
He's in the corner.
Bless. So that's really cool. So it sounds like you were very supported.
Oh, 100%.
If you've got instruments in the car for when you're on the move, it's dedication.
I have a lot to thank my parents for. Obviously, being here is definitely one of them. But putting up with my crazy antics over the years is definitely all the noise in the house. I can sure they were probably quite annoyed at it at some point, but they let me do it.
It's paying off now.
Oh, well, thank you.
So I'm intrigued. So you start playing at a really young age. What was the key moment where other people started to take notice, where they're like, wow, this kid's really good, we should do something? Do you remember what that moment was?
Yeah, so it did come through social media, and it didn't intentionally come through social media. So I was playing guitar and I recorded something on my dad's iPad, because as a kid I'd never know what I looked like with a guitar. So the only way I could do it was record it on iPad and have a look. I know I could have looked in the mirror, but I was just like, I wanted to hear what it sounded like, and I wanted to kind of watch it back.
What is this performance?
Yeah, and I was really, really intrigued by that. And now I can't watch myself at all. I think
that's normal.
It's really very, very cringy, and I'm always criticising.
You don't want to be the guy where like people walk past and you're like, sorry, I'm just watching myself.
Yes, sorry, that's just that was my good angle. No, I just but some of my family live in Boston in the US, and the only way we could show them what we were kind of up to in the UK was to post something on Facebook or show them on Facebook so that they could see it. And so we did that, and it kind of reached a larger audience than just my family.
Yeah.
So we were kind of at that point thinking, there's people that want to hear this music. Yeah. And I was kind of like 7, 8 years old at this point, and it wasn't really.
We should point out, so you're 19.
Yes. Yeah.
So that is such an incredible amount of time already. I'm feeling so old right now. I'm like, I should have achieved more. But it's quite amazing how much you've done in that time. Like you should be like 30, 40 now, and you're like, no, I don't. And we'll get on to all of the incredible things that you've done.
It has been a bit crazy, and I think it's also a bit of a hard battle when people are like, oh, you're only young, you're just starting. I'm thinking, I've literally been doing this for most of my life already.
Like
and it's kind of like, and there's always, what I love about the guitar in general, there's always something to learn. You can never fully finish or complete, like with a game or something, going back to that, you can complete the game and then you're done.
It's done.
Whereas with guitar, if you're done learning one style, you learn something else, or find a different tuning. And I love that. I think that's really cool.
So sorry, I interrupted you there. So we've got the family in Boston. You're like, hey, auntie, and then the world's like, auntie, we love you, but we're on to bigger things. We've got loads of people looking at this. So who were one of the people that kind of reached out to you and were like, okay, let's do something?
Well, there was kind of lots of comments from people, and I think another thing that was probably, because it was, as I say, very unexpected for it to go any further than my family, I was wearing a onesie. And obviously, when you're wearing a onesie and playing guitar, you don't expect more than just, or kind of hope that more than just your family, especially looking back, see it. But then it kind of became a thing. And so there was kind of regular 4 or 5, maybe 6 people on the first video that I quite like this. And then it kind of very slowly kind of grew. And I thought, I've got to make a habit of doing this because I'm playing guitar every day anyway. So why not let people listen to it? Because there's clearly people that want to. And so every Sunday seemed to be the time to do it. And then came kind of my Sunday jams, I guess. And I was in onesies for many years doing them.
Rock and roll. I haven't even thought about a onesie in ages.
I know, they seem to be like a trend, and then all of a sudden they're not here.
I think I fell over in a onesie once, and I remember thinking, this is too dangerous for me. This is a dangerous life.
See, I'm too clumsy for all of it now, but there was a time for the onesies when I was kind of 10 years old and younger, but then they had to go.
Yeah, we've gone to proper trousers.
Yes, exactly. I had to wear proper clothes.
So from that point, so obviously you're so kind of like, young and carefree and just posting these things and people are getting into it. What was the first like gig where you're like, okay, I'm doing a professional gig. I'm not just on the internet anymore. I am shredding in real life.
It's kind of weird. I got flown out to these places to guest with people. So people would kind of seen me play guitar online or something, and then they'd want me to come to their festivals to jam with people. And so there was a particular, jumping ahead a couple of years, I think I was 11, I got invited to a festival in Denmark called Blues Heaven. Right. And it was really, really cool. Everyone was lovely. And I was this tiny, short-haired ginger kid with a massive Gibson Firebird, massive Dr. Martin boots, and spiky hair and a jacket. And so I'm kind of like, straight away, people are like, what is going on? Because the average age of a blues festival is not 11 years old, as you can probably imagine. So it was kind of a bit of a weird thing. But I got invited up on stage with a guy called Ronnie Baker Brooks. And now for me, this was kind of, I'd done little local gigs and little bits and bobs, and kind of TV appearances of me playing guitar, but more for the novelty of a small kid playing a big guitar. Right. Whereas for me, this was a gig. This was a proper show. People were there for the music. And it was very much past my bedtime, and mum and dad were waiting side of stage, and I could see them looking.
They're like, one more song, and you're like, no, I need cookies and milk, and I need to go to bed.
Exactly. It was a very kind of very 11-year-old's time. But there was a guy in the front row that filmed it, and he put it on Facebook. And I do have a lot to kind of thank that video for, because within the night it had hit 1 million views, and I'm kind of like, for me, that was my first realization of how powerful this can be, because I'd had a couple of videos that had gone quite crazy, but over a longer period of time. Then all of a sudden this has reached this many people in a night.
Yeah.
And by the end of the week it had hit like 20 million, and it just kept going up. And I think at this point it's at 119 million or something, and it keeps getting reshared even now. I mean, a couple of months ago...
We will reshare it again.
Yes,
we're going to get it there.
It kind of keeps recirculating. So Janet Jackson's posted it a couple of months ago, and Slash did it a couple of weeks after. And you get so many messages like, hold up, you're not 10 anymore. And it's kind of like, no, I'm not. And this is my full-time everything.
Well, this is one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about. And I interviewed Tito Jackson recently. And he was talking about that kind of, you know, the way that you obviously develop as an artist, but also as a person, you know, going through the industry and just growing up. It must be interesting for you when people are kind of attached to a particular moment in your life. So, they're like, right, okay, I remember you at this point. And I guess the kind of, not challenge, but just the natural next step is kind of how you gracefully, you know, move into these different eras of your life.
The evolution and the transition is I think it probably is a bit of a challenge in a sense, because there's so many people like, I saw you, you know, when you were a kid. It's kind of like, yeah, but I've kind of been doing this, gigging with my band, touring.
Putting the work in.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But all of that goes unnoticed because of one thing that stands out more than the rest, which is the tough part about social media, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a challenge, but I think the main thing that I found is you just got to be 100% true to what you do.
Yeah.
Because
at each stage.
Exactly, because you might lose audience that were like, well, I preferred it when you played in a tiger onesie when you were 10 years old. I'm like, yeah, but I'm 20
I'm not that
you know?
person anymore, Janet. I've told you.
Exactly, it's always Janet. You know,
I am who I am.
Exactly, and I think you've kind of just got to trust your instinct and do what you want to do. And yes, you might lose a couple of people that preferred a certain time, but by being yourself, you'll gain more people for liking you for what you do.
Amen.
And I think that's kind of the main way that I've tried to bridge it, because I also didn't sing until I'd been playing guitar pretty much my whole life, but singing was not a thing that came naturally to me. I was always really, really nervous about it. And I remember Chris Evans asked me, he said, you know, do you sing? I was just like, no, I hate singing. And I just stood by it for years and years and years. And then I kind of thought, it can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. Because it was like it was a confidence thing. Yeah. Because everyone's got a voice, but it's their brain telling them they can't do it.
Exactly. So, everyone can sing. I'm absolutely convinced of it.
And so I kind of was, it's about finding your own voice. And I think the other barrier of that, confidence-wise, of part of the transition was you're never going to sound like who you idolise, because you're not them. You've got to create your own thing. And I think I was never going to have the voice of the people that I was listening to, because I'm not them, but I can give it what I could kind of...
You're you. And
exactly.
Speaking of those influences, who were those kind of big names that stand out to you where you're like, oh, I wanted to be like them?
I mean, it goes back to the broadest kind of variation of music. So I picked up a guitar because of Buddy Holly. Yeah. So kind of early rock and roll, Elvis and Eddie Cochran and Richie Valens, all that early stuff I absolutely loved, because most of the time it was the same 3 chords, but they made everything sound completely different. And I thought, if you can do that with that shows how powerful music can be and how broad it can be. But for me, I take inspiration from every single little bit of music, because I like to try and take little bits from whether it's a solo piece or whether it's a singer or an instrumental piece, and try and bring it into my music. Which is not the most conventional way, because some people will just say, right, I like this person, whereas I kind of like...
No, that's good. It means you've got a broad range of inspiration, and it keeps it interesting for the listener as well. I
don't have any musical dislikes. I think that's probably a better way of... everyone, you know, I appreciate all music.
Who's a band that you're into that people might be surprised?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Is there anyone where you're like, you know what, I'm seeing Rammstein tonight, I'm seeing
off to go and
Gladys Knight tomorrow, I'm seeing Beyonce another night, I'm seeing Metallica another night.
I mean, to be fair, my Spotify kind of playlists are very much like that. They'll be completely from one end to the other. But I love kind of James Morrison and all that early
He's
kind
got
of
a great voice.
Yeah, and I think some of his early stuff was just very very soulful and very kind of where I see my music kind of progressing to, because that's how I like playing. But it's always been very hard when you're kind of labelled as just a guitarist to be able to bring the rest of the band side into it. But I love that kind of stuff. I really, really do. And James Bay and all that kind of thing.
Love James. Like, we're seeing him in a few weeks here as
very
well.
jealous.
So very, very excited.
Very jealous.
Now, you've got new music coming out.
I do.
Tell us about the inspiration behind it. When can people get their get their hands on it? It's all digital. When can we get our ears?
Get the ears used to the music. So I'm very excited about it because I've put out a couple of things in the past, but they were from when I was very new to singing, and it was very much more of a confidence thing for myself to say, look, I can do this. But then looking back at it now, I'm kind of like, I sound like a chipmunk. I've got a really squeaky voice. Why is this stuff out there? But whenever anyone after a gig will say, are you on Spotify? That's the first thing that comes up, or Apple Music. It's the first thing. And so I'm really excited because it's been 2 or 3 years since I've put anything out, and this is kind of my musical influence now, and it's a bit of everything. It starts with a rock track. It's got a really slow ballad with just me, guitar, voice, and a cello. You know, it goes stripped right back, and then full horns section and soul groove. It's kind of a bit of everything that I love in an album, and it's called House on Fire, to which the title single is out at the moment.
Incredible! Everyone stream it now.
Yes, please. Thank you very much. Which I'm really, really excited about, just because it's kind of, I really wanted to put out some more upbeat music, because it's quite easy in this day and age that everything's quite kind of chilled and quite sad, and I wanted to do something for me because I've done predominantly blues before, which not all blues is really exciting and really happy. So I wanted to make sure I could get that into an album, and that's kind of it. And it comes out October the 4th. Trying to remember. October
the 4th, get it in the diary, very important.
Yeah, and pre-sales are all out. I'm so bad at plugging my own music, so I'm so glad you brought that up.
Listen, that's what we're here for. October the 4th.
October the 4th.
Get it in your diary. It's interesting to hear you talk about kind of bringing that kind of fun energy to your music. So I have actually seen you live before. It was in Birmingham when you were supporting Billy Gibbons.
Oh, amazing.
And I was just saying to your lovely dad before, that was the hottest gig I've ever been to in my life. It was so close, and it was like it was just, there was a brilliant energy in the room, but like that literally did feel like a house on fire. Like
it was
really hot. What was that like? And I can only imagine, I mean, that's like, that show is hit after hit after hit when you're watching their set.
Very much so.
I can imagine that probably did rub off, because when you're touring with those guys and you're like, right, we've got Lagrange, we've got this, I guess that's quite inspirational, because you think, well, my show could be like this.
100%.
It could be hit after hit after hit.
I mean, that's the dream, I think. I think there was also an element of pressure in the sense of everyone knows exactly what all of those hits are.
Yes.
And as a support act in a 3-piece at that point, it was quite hard to fill these big rooms with just 3 of us with songs that people
It sounded great. It sounded really, really cool.
I
it didn't sound sparse at all. Like I didn't leave the show. Oh, you went as well, didn't you? I didn't leave the show thinking, oh, it could have done with a bit more. Like, it really, you guys did a brilliant job. I don't need to tell you that, but it was fab. It really was. It was well matched.
There was a bit of stress at that show, if I'm honest, because literally in soundcheck, we don't get very long for soundcheck on those kind of gigs, because you don't want to take up any of Billy and the team's time. And I had this guitar with me, and it died in soundcheck completely.
No.
Right before the Birmingham show, which wasn't very helpful.
That's not good.
But that's the joys of playing.
So did you use something else?
I did. I had a spare with me.
Yeah.
So
what did you play? What's your backup?
My backup, it's a Gibson Les Paul, which
shout.
It's a bit of a custom job. I'm obsessed with classic cars. That's my kind of other obsession in life, and so I had it painted with candy apple red with kind of racing stripes on it.
Ooh, very cool.
But that one always works, which old ones don't always do. So that was my trusty backup.
There's pros and cons.
Always pros and cons.
So let's talk about gear then, because we are a gear channel.
Gear channel.
So you've spoken about the Les Paul. Is that kind of what you're naturally drawn to?
To be fair, this is my main
Your
guitar.
main one
this
now,
comes everywhere with me, even though I probably shouldn't take it everywhere, because it's kind of like irreplaceable to me. I'd never get rid of it. So if it breaks, it won't upset me too much, because I know I'll get it fixed and carry on using it.
Yes.
But that is I've got an old, it's a reissue 61 335 as well.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a custom job as well. that I've got a flight case for. So if we do fly anywhere that I know that it's going to get battered, that one tends to get dusted off and come with me.
Okay, amazing. So tell us, so this is your favourite, this is your baby. Does it have a name?
Well, it does. It's called Mickey.
Mickey?
Not after any Disney characters,
Flanagan?
I must add.
No, the comedian.
There could be that as well. I mean, all
Because you're
manner of
always
things.
taking it out. That's his joke,
there
isn't
you
it?
go,
Yeah.
There you go. That was very smooth.
Thank you very
much. But yeah, I bought it from a guy called Mick, but I thought the name Mick was slightly abrupt.
I feel like everyone buys their guitars from a guy called Mick.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
It was this mysterious, very...
Did you get it in, like, a car park?
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is what happens. Like, oh, yeah, like, just go and see Mick and
to be
meet
fair,
him in the
it
car
was-
park by McDonald's and you'll get an amazing guitar.
Well, the thing is, it could have been very much like that, and he was a very mysterious, wizard-looking guy with a very long beard.
Love that.
And he only used to buy and sell Gibson Firebirds.
Right, okay.
Now, this guitar only came along by me buying 2 other guitars from him.
Okay.
But he had this tiny, tiny, tiny little house and these kind of glass wardrobes. So he pulled the door back and it was just literally 50 guitar cases stuck to the roof.
Okay.
Or it looked like 50 guitar cases. I'm not sure how many it was exactly. But he said, look, I know you like Firebirds. I've got something to show you. And he gets this out and he's kind of like, he knows that I'm going to love it. But some guitars don't always play as nice as you'd like, whereas this one did, which didn't help because I already really loved it. And
It is well loved.
oh, it's very well loved. It's had a life, that's for sure.
It's an absolute beauty. And
Yeah.
I assume is this what you're going to be taking out for the Jules
Yes,
tour?
so this is the one that comes with me in its battered old hard case. It comes everywhere with me. And the long story short is it was a decision between keeping my old 1960s Volkswagen Beetle or buying the guitar. So I sold the car and I bought the guitar. And
That's a good message for everyone listening.
yes,
Sell the car.
sell the car. If you have
Buy the
only
guitar.
one means of transport, sell it and buy a plank of wood, because that's what I did.
Save the environment.
Yeah.
You can walk.
Exactly,
Bless
buy
you.
guitars.
So I want to talk a little bit about the very exciting things that you've got coming up. So if people don't know, you are going to be touring with Jules Holland.
Yes, yes.
And I feel like he is one of the very like British nods of approval for musicians. Like if Jules thinks you're great, like you're flying, and that must be so nice to get to
yeah.
enjoy his world. He's worked with so many incredible people.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of musicians that want to keep music within their circle and not necessarily want younger people to come along and be part of that musical generation, which I totally get. But Jules seems to be so accepting with everyone. So there's been two tours with him. He had the summer and the winter tour, and so I've been with him for about 30 shows so far. And then we've got another run starting in November all the way up to the 23rd of December.
So people can get tickets for that now.
So yes, they're all there, and we've got right before then as well. I've got a bit of time off now, which is really nice because it's been a bit hectic this year so far with the Jules stuff and with band stuff as well. But I've got a band tour in October to promote the album coming out. So that'll be really good fun as well. Which there are plenty of tickets available if you fancy coming along.
Yeah, and
I'll bring some old guitars.
It is very important as well to go to a show. I know it sounds like such a basic thing, but I think a lot of us now, like, you know, there are so many videos of people you can watch online. You cannot beat just a nice evening out. And,
Exactly.
you know, just really kind of...
Nothing quite like live music, you see.
Yeah,
And I think after
being
lockdown,
entertained
it's quite
tonight.
hard to kind of get back into
Yeah.
to knowing that live music and going out and seeing shows it's not.
It's
that
normal,
bad.
it's
It is a
okay,
normal thing.
yes.
We did do it before lockdown.
Yeah, it's
so we
allowed.
can do it after as well.
Bless
like,
you.
know.
I'm intrigued actually. So when you were growing up and kind of getting inspired by different artists, what were some of the best live acts that you've seen? Are there any performances that really stand out where you're like, wow, that moved the needle?
I think there was quite a few for me. So I went to see Joe Bonamassa a few times, and every single time you'd kind of walk away thinking, wow, like how was that possible that he's kind of done that? And I love artists that make you think, because it's not just about the show and then you go home and that's the end.
Yeah.
If you're still thinking about it the next day and what an amazing
You're like,
night
I want
was.
that tone.
Exactly.
Yes.
You're constantly kind of excited by the music. So I think that was always a kind of a standout moment for me. And Bernie Marsden was a huge kind of inspiration to me. And and kind of supporting me over the years. And obviously it's heartbreaking that he's not with us anymore. But the one thing that I do love about music is, even though most of the people that inspired me to play guitar aren't with us anymore, doesn't stop them from inspiring you, because the music still lives on. And I think that's pretty incredible. So yeah, I think for me, seeing these legends in person and being part of shows where they've been, so I did a show last year, it was a tribute to James Burton, and he was Elvis's guitarist back in the day and had some incredible stories. And it was James Burton, Ronnie Wood, Brian May, Van Morrison, Kingfish.
Just some up and comers.
Yeah, it was just like the craziest thing. Jason Sheff from Chicago, and like, what is going on with this amazing band, and so many others. And then they invited me along, and for me,
you're like, oh, go on then.
Yeah, that'd be great. But it was just incredible. I mean, to be part of that was just kind of like all these people that you've always looked up to be stood there with them. I think you learn more from one song at a gig than you can anywhere else, and I think that's a pretty crazy and incredible thing about music.
Wow, and what a lovely kind of, again, another very satisfying nod to you of like, you're on the right path. Of these people are going, join the club, get involved. That must be such a lovely feeling.
It's definitely the biggest honour. You can't quite describe it, because you work so hard to make things happen in the background. And I think another thing as musicians, it's not just getting up and playing a gig.
No, that's the easy bit.
Yes, that's the fun part. That's the bit that we look forward to. We're like, yes, this is finally. But all the travelling and the band logistics and getting places.
And the business.
The finances, everything. There's so much more. We have to kind of hold so many umbrellas just to be a musician, I feel.
Yeah, I agree.
And it makes all of that work worth it when you can get up on stage with anyone, in front of anyone, but let alone to be on stage with those people. It's kind of like that breathe out and relax, that it's all
working.
Good, the hard work's kind of paying off.
Well, good for you. It sounds like, I think it's so true that if you put the work in when no one's looking, that stuff behind the scenes, when those moments pay off, you're like, actually, this is, it's well deserved, because you've really been doing it. And I think it's great for like other young players that are watching as well, 100%. To just, keep going at it. And also it's, you have had those viral social media moments, but I think it's important to talk about the fact that you have to be able to convert those moments into a viable job in your life.
Social media numbers don't always equate to people actually coming to shows. So I feel that in terms of social media, you have to kind of use it as your promotion. It's your kind of digital promotion, but you do also have to go out there and do gigs to build an audience that do come to shows, which might not be on social media, which I found quite funny. A lot of people won't say that they've seen you from YouTube. They'll say, oh, I saw you at this show when you were supporting this person, or which is quite interesting to see the two different sides.
And sometimes, I don't know if you notice this, it doesn't always add up. So there might be an act that we all know is incredible that don't have crazy numbers on socials that always sell out shows. It's kind of like, I guess, just finding your people.
Exactly.
And then making them happy as often as you can, and being like, right, come back again and again and again, and hopefully some new people.
And if they enjoy the show and they come back, I think that's also the biggest compliment, because obviously if they don't, they didn't enjoy it. So it's kind of
they might have been having an off night.
Yeah, exactly. But whether there's 6 people there or 300, you always just give it the best show that you possibly
full whack.
Exactly.
Full whack.
Even if it is mum and dad in the audience, you still got to give it the best.
Even more important, because I feel like they're normally the ones that are like, I know that bit could have been different, or I know how that was meant to be.
Yeah, the constructive criticisms at the end, it always makes for a better show next time.
Bless you. Well, this has been so lovely, and I would like to, if I can, end on the deep questions.
Of course.
So I did this with Jared James Nichols as well, and his answer was so lovely. It was really moving. I was like, wow, you're thinking a lot deeper than I was thinking about this. But I always think these videos act as such a nice little time capsule. Hopefully people obviously will be watching this now, but in the future they'll be going back and looking at us, and I'm sure we look exactly the same 5 years on.
Might have slightly shorter hair. I think I'm due a haircut.
Yes. But what I'd love to do is set some goals that hopefully you're going to achieve in the next 5 years, and then we can look back on this and fingers crossed they've happened. So what are some of the things that you're going to make happen, Toby?
Well, I think for me, being a musician has been my dream for my entire life. There's never been a time when I'm like, I don't want to be a musician.
That's good.
There's always times when it's really frustrating. I mean, you know that. It can get really, really tough. And you do kind of think, is it worth it? But then always come back to the fact that I love this for a reason. And I think for me, it's building that audience to get more and more loyal people to come to the shows. And for me, it's not about the number of people, it's about the enjoyment of the music. And getting the people that really, really kind of
they get you.
And I think it's also a point of getting you as opposed to just getting the music. Because if you can find the people that kind of support you for who you are, it doesn't necessarily, it's not make or break what you're playing. As long as it's genuine to you, they'll enjoy it. And I think that's the one thing that I've found. You know, I love all sorts of music, but I've kind of been a little bit pigeonholed into just the blues, even though I love every type of music. So for me, it's about releasing as much music as possible, and getting it out there. Obviously this album coming out in October, I'm really excited. On the 4th.
Just in case.
I had to check that it was the 4th again then. I was like, yes. But I'm already thinking about the next one and constantly evolving to get me as a musician comfortable with what I do. But for me, an all-time dream is to play Red Rocks. That would be...
Do it. I feel like it's attainable.
You've got to set goals.
It's figure-outable. Yeah, so Red Rocks, do we reckon? Yeah, in the next 5 years, why not?
I mean, I've got to set a goal somehow. Even if it seems a bit unrealistic, it makes it even more of a stride.
That's so doable.
There, you know?
It's so doable. Okay, so we're doing Red Rocks.
We're doing Red Rocks.
What else are we doing?
Well, I think there's goals in venues to play and there's goals in things to do. And I think as long as in the next 5 years, I've put out the music that is so me, and I'm playing to the people that enjoy hearing the music. As long as there's still people coming to the shows, that's always going to be my goal. You know, if there's one person there or 10,000, you know, to me it's still doing what I love doing, and I think for me it'll always be a dream because of that. And the dream will never be completed. It's always a constant evolution of doing what you love. You know?
That's the sound bite. That's the sound bite. Bless you, that's so lovely. Okay, so in 5 years' time, so you'll have played Red Rocks.
Fingers crossed.
And you'll be playing to people who have believed in you and are genuine, lovely fans.
Yes, that would be the goal.
That's what we want, and we're all getting tickets, aren't we, guys? I'm putting in an early order there.
Love it. That's very kind.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. This has been such a treat. It's so nice to get to know you, and I think a lot of people who are watching probably think, I've seen that kid, I've seen his viral videos, and it's really, really lovely to get to see where you're at today. And you know, the idea behind this is that we're talking to some people that we think are going to be future legends.
Oh, well, that's very kind. It's an honour to be a part of it.
You've got to do it.
It really is. It really is. And to have stuff like this when I was starting out to listen to and hear other people's stories, that was exactly what I would have loved. But there was just nothing at the time. So I think this is just an incredible space, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed it, and obviously make sure that you're following Toby on all of the usual places. Make sure you've got your diary earmarked for the 4th of October, and if you are in the market for a glorious kind of soulful, jazzy night out, go and see Toby and Jules Holland. What could be nice? Like, go for dinner before, treat yourself.
Nice little evening out.
A nice evening out. I think that sounds good.
Be great to see you there.
Yes, bless you. Well, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye.